This is the most challenging task for Cara, especially under these test conditions.
Private Charles Nodler was attached to a company, and was fighting in the jungles of Okinawa. All the men in his squad and company had been killed or severely wounded, or severely wounded.
Where was Private Charles Nodler fighting? Do you remember that?
In Japan, in Okinawa.
And how long before reinforcements would arrive?
I can't even remember what I read. This is really thick for me, but I can't think right now.
Well done for working through all of that.
I don't think my brain's wrecked this much in about 10 years.
It's a lot of concentration, isn't it?
The way Cara processes language gives Catherine a clear-cut diagnosis.
Because of the dyslexic difficulty of decoding or breaking down words into their sounds, the effort that you are putting in to really make sure that you're reading the words accurately means that you're not holding on to the meaning at the same time.
Maybe sometimes I have to read it 8 to 10 times to get what it's meaning.
Yes.
She's also detected that Cara's short-term memory is weak.
But there is a dip, if you like, in your ability to hold on to information in your mind in the short term.
This is the most common characteristic of dyslexia, but it's a real eye-opener for Cara.
I mean, in normal life, we have to do quite a lot of, remembering messages, organising daily life, remembering where things have been put.
Yeah.
Are you well organised in that way?
I would say all of those things are bad, very bad.
I suspect that it's that memory challenge which is affecting your organisation as well. It's just you've lost it. It's slipped your mind, or you're now concentrating on something else. So that is completely characteristic of dyslexia.
The diagnosis has given Cara an explanation for her scattiness, but it's making her question why she's never faced up to her condition until now.
I felt really, really naked in there. Suddenly today I was put in a situation where it's almost like I couldn't disappear. It's really weird because, it's just a silly little test, but it just made me it just made me realise that in life we choose to follow our comfort zone, and that's bad. You should push yourself to do things that aren't comfortable.
Cara now realises that dyslexia has been holding her back more than she'd imagined. Since leaving EastEnders a year ago, she's been back on the audition circuit where she has to be able to read and learn scripts fast.
My first line is, Ryan buys 2 breakfasts and doesn't eat both himself. I'm still asleep. What? Ryan buys 2 breakfasts and doesn't eat both himself. Ryan buys 2...
Over the years, Cara has developed her own ways of getting around the difficulties caused by dyslexia.
My system is, I'll read a line and then I'll write it down, and then I just keep adding a line every time or more until it really funnels in.
But writing each line out more than 10 times is a lengthy and painstaking process.
I hate this part, really. If this was what acting was about, I probably wouldn't do it, But when you get there and start saying it out loud, that's when you realise that it's how amazing it is. It's worth this part.
Cara often has to rely on her mum and dad to get the lines right.
Mum? Yeah? Would you mind giving me a hand, please?
Do you know where you come in?
Yep.
So Molly, 4 replies in 3 days.
The box room, there. It's small, but if you get rid of all the stuff, you can fit a bed in. No?
It's not. It's the box room. It's the box room there.
I'm not acting it at the moment. I'm just learning the lines.
Okay, all right.
It's small, but if you... Dad, I need to learn that, but it's small, but if you clear the stuff out, you can fit a bed in. It's small. It's small, but if you clear the stuff out, you can get a bed in. If you get the stuff out, clear the stuff out.
It's small, but if you clear the stuff out, you can get a bed in.
Action.
Many dyslexics find ways of getting around their difficulties, and relying on loved ones is common. When it comes to the audition the next day, Cara's on her own. Cara is now wondering how much easier life is for people without dyslexia. During her 4 years on EastEnders, she was reading and memorising up to 40 short scenes a week. But she never talked about her condition, not even to her closest co-star, Ricky Groves.
Hello.
I bet you got loads of women back in Walford.
No, not me.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm all about respect and commitment.
We never discussed my dyslexia at work, did we?
No, we never did.
In the 4 years I was there.
No, it never really appeared with you. You know, I think
Really?
you know, like all of us, you know, we had our ups and downs with regards to, like, good days and bad days. But it was never a case of, like, oh, no, here comes the dyslexic again, you know what I mean?
But, so I'd do one line, and
Yeah.
then I'd go over, I'd write it down about 7 times, and then the second line, I'd add to that and write the 2 lines 7 times,
7 times.
and just keep
Really?
adding a line.
Wow, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
And then I'd learn your
But it didn't
lines.
show.
Well, I've got it in here. Look, these are
Go on,
the way I
what
do
have you
it.
brought with you?
So this is one of my books. There might even be one of our scenes in
Let's
here.
have a
I
look.
have no idea. There's
So
just-
this was you every night when you got
Yeah,
home after a
this
day
is-
of work. Look, hey, this is where I punch Phil. Do you remember? It was like that. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, this is our last episode. Episode 3848. Just for fun and a bit of reminiscing, would you learn it your way and I learn it my way, and then we'll see how good our memories still are?
Yeah, we do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, go on then. Off you go.
Okay, I'm going to go over here.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Okay, good luck.
Non-dyslexics like Ricky take it for granted that they can read and retain information. Cara and other dyslexics often have to work much harder to do the same thing.
Have you learnt it yet?
Yeah.
Wow.
You've got a lot more than me, though. I did
Yeah, that's a point. You haven't got that much.
Well, I just said that to them. Don't ever go at me.
There's a big difference in the time it's taking each of them. And this is just the last of over 150 episodes they acted together.
To learn a scene like that scene probably take me, on average, I suppose, you'd look at it for sort of 10, 15 minutes.
And this was our last scene, so I'd probably have spent, goodness me, 3 hours maybe? Right. I'm ready.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm quite excited. Do you know what I've realised doing this, though?
What have you realised?
I have realised how good my long-term memory is, and if they gave this to us a year before we filmed, I'd be blooming amazing.
Think so? Let's see how it goes.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Gary! Gary! Stop the boat! Stop the boat.
I don't know how to.
You always make me laugh, Gary.
Thanks for that.
No, I'm not talking a little chuckle here. I mean right from the pit of my belly laughing.
Oh, I'm good for something then, am I?
You're good for a lot of things. So what if you've got a paunch and you're losing your hair?
It's just the way it's styled.
But I think... Don't tell me. Every time I've needed you, you've always been there for me. I did it right there.
Done well.
Oh. Oh, so
Happy days.
lovely.
Happy days. Right, take care.
Au revoir.
Bye-bye.
Mes amis. I'm going this way.
I'm going this way.
The time scale of my learning and how slow I am is a really odd factor that I hadn't thought about. So yeah, I've probably taken ages and ages and ages to learn my lines, whereas normally it shouldn't really take that long. That's quite interesting.
Cara's realising how little she's understood until now about how dyslexia defines her.
I had decided what dyslexia was in my mind, what it meant, how it affected me, and I'd put it in a file and accepted for me that was that. And it's as if someone has suddenly added all these things that are kind of blowing my mind.
She's now going to find out how different her brain function is to that of non-dyslexics. Her brain scan results are through.
When it came to reading familiar words, people of your age and intelligence are normally much quicker and more accurate when they're reading them. Mm-hmm. So you were dyslexic insofar as you were slower to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy has discovered that Cara uses the same pathways in her brain to read as those without dyslexia, but she's using much more effort.
So you were saying horse and donkey, but despite reading easy words, your brain is still working particularly hard.
To read out words, Cara's brain must visually recognise the letters of a word, put those letters together, work out the meaning of the word, and then finally say the word out loud.
This red is how high your activity was, and you can see that it's higher than all of the other typical readers. People who are speaking in a second language, when they're reading in English, they also show more activity.
I'm almost working like a French person reading English.
Yes, but these are... Exactly.
Oh God, that's not good then, is it?
Despite the brave face, finding out that her memory and reading are significantly slower is troubling for Cara.
I know this is a bit dramatic, but I end up sort of hating myself because I can't seem to get anything right sometimes. It really is in my hands now, and if I want to make certain changes in my life, it's really down to me putting the work and the effort in.
Dyslexia can't be cured, but specialist tuition can help adult dyslexics manage the everyday tasks made tricky. Cara has signed up for some one-to-one classes.
Hello.
Hiya.
Tutor Claire Salter wants to start by transforming the way Cara deals with her poor short-term memory.
In the same way that you might have organisational problems in life, actually we can do that in our brain. If you sort of just put something down when you come in quickly and don't pay attention to where it is, when you go and find it later, it's really difficult to find. The better I store it, the more easily I can go and find it later.
How much?
6p.
There's a shilling. No, keep the change.
Yeah, she's putting on performance.
Claire's showing Cara how to learn her script lines by associating them with colours, sounds, buzzwords and physical movement to anchor them in her long-term memory. She's using the same multi-sensory learning technique that Cara had a taste of at Shapwick School.
Hide the Christmas tree carefully, Helen. Be sure the children do not see it until this evening when it is dressed.
Does it matter where I put them?
No, as long as you can anchor and remember your movement. So what I do is get you to go round a number of times like that, sort of listening and repeating.
Hide the Christmas tree carefully, Helen. Be sure the children do not see it until this evening when it is dressed.
Hide the Christmas tree carefully, Helen. Don't let them see it until tonight when it is properly dressed.
It's very close, yeah. It's, you know, it wouldn't take very long for it.
No, it wouldn't after a few times of
There's a shilling.
How much? There's a shilling.
Keep the change.
Keep the change.
Has my little spendthrift been wasting money again?
Yes, Torville, but we can afford to let ourselves go a little. This is the first year that we have not